Hi everybody, hope you're well, keeping busy and making sense of this crazy world. A bit of tax today, so I'll try and be a bit quicker than I normally am. Some clients have asked me whether there was anything in the much maligned mini budget to reduce stamp duty land tax on commercial property. There wasn't. All the relaxations relate to residential transactions, although the government has mooted the idea of new investment zones as part of its 2022 growth plan, and it's in discussions, it says, with 38 local authorities to establish these zones in which some time-limited tax benefits might be available, including, they say, full SDLT relief on land bought for commercial or residential development and some business rates relief as well. So watch this space, as with anything political at the moment. Now, not a mini budget issue, but we have had a little but quite significant VAT development in a commercial landlord-tenant context this year, and it relates to break premiums, and these are seen frequently in commercial leases. They are the payments that tenants will be required sometimes to make under their leases to break their leases early, and you normally see them as being about equivalent to 3 months rent or 6 months rent, and they're sometimes called break penalties, which is a bit of a misnomer because the concept of a penalty, an unconscionable or out of kilter payment from one party to another, is seen as being unenforceable at law. But break payments, break premiums, break penalties, whatever you call them. Now, the question is, are they VATable? Now, early in 2022, HMRC published guidance which stated that it considered that charges described as compensation or early termination fees are potentially liable for VAT. And the guidance wasn't specific to break fees and break penalties, but the impact was that break fees would be regarded as payments for a supply chargeable to VAT in cases where the landlord had opted to tax its interest. Now, that guidance now has legal backing following a September case, actually a Scottish case of the court in session in Scotland, Ventgrove against Cooner and Nargle, which held that break payments were chargeable to VAT where the landlord had opted to tax. Now, payments like that are usually framed as break conditions, and in this case, the landlord argued that the tenant had not met its break condition and therefore couldn't break the lease by not paying the VAT element on the break payment, which in that case was a large break payment of £112,500. So the case has confirmed that break payments are treated the same as surrender payments, where the tenant pays a reverse premium to the landlord for the early surrender, and they thus provide legal backing for HMRC's previous guidance from earlier this year. So with both break premiums and reverse surrender payments, the landlord makes a supply in return for the payments. That supply is an exempt supply, but chargeable to VAT if the landlord has opted to tax, which is frequently the case with commercial investment property. So from now on, from a landlord's point of view, when drafting a lease, any break payment provision must be expressly exclusive of VAT. Otherwise, the break payment would be inclusive of VAT and the landlord won't get the full contractual payment. Now, dilapidations payments, by the way, remain generally outside the scope of VAT, as confirmed by that HMRC brief from earlier this year. They are not VATable, dilapidations payments, irrespective of whether or not the landlord has opted to tax. That's my little tax bite for today, and I'll see you all in 2 weeks' time.